my last couple of videos have been kind of sad, horribly depressing topics about my inevitable future, my lack thereof, whatever the point. So today let's talk about something fun. I made $350 at work today, most I've made ever. So I was pretty stoked. I was there for about 10 and a half hours. Partly out of necessity. We're a little short staffed this weekend, and it is also the weekend as school starts back up here in Texas. So bunch of parties, bunch of celebrations. I made $3,500. That's pretty cool. You know, it's pretty. I wouldn't say life changing money, which obviously it isn't, but it's a surplus for a day's work at my job that I'm definitely going to take advantage of. Put in my Roth IRA or savings, wherever I put it. It's pretty cool. I'm pretty stoked about that. Today I wanted to talk about finding good moments. And not necessarily finding good moments, but being appreciative of them despite your own hardships. Today, the fact that I made a lot of money today doesn't change any of what I said yesterday, the day before, any of my other problems, but it's something positive in my life. It's still a very positive thing that I shouldn't shun, I shouldn't ignore, I shouldn't push aside to focus on more depressing topics. One of the main things that is very easy as someone who struggles with mental health is to focus on it. It's to think about it, it's to dwell on the negative aspects of it. It's easy because it's right there in front of you. It's what you always have to deal with. It's right there. Why would I not think about it if I have to deal with it constantly? I used to be in that trap. I used to be in the mindset of always, I wouldn't say self-pity, but always thinking about how awful my situation was, how I didn't have a future, all of this, all that. Until one day I realized there's just like, okay, and then what? You know? Cool, I'm sad, I'm depressed, I'm in my room doing nothing, I have no friends, I'm playing Overwatch by myself. I'm a loser. Okay, and then what? What do you mean, and then what? Present EJ? What do you mean? I'm just a loser. I have nothing going for me. I'm a little nerd loser butt boy. Why would you call yourself a butt boy? That's why you're a loser. You're always talking bad about yourself. This is Present EJ. You're always talking bad about yourself. Maybe if you just lived a little, let yourself feel the greatness around you instead of always focusing on the bad, maybe you'd realize your life doesn't totally suck. You know, I had to turn my mindset from a glass like a shattered glass to a half glass full kind of mentality. I always thought that my glass was just thrown on the ground and shattered into thousands of pieces, when in reality, the glass is right on the table, and there's a good bit of liquid in there. Life is funny like that. You know, it's funny how there's just so many things that can happen to you, positive and negative, and depending on what you choose to prioritize, that is what will ultimately impact you and the way that you interact with life and react. The way that I've been having to consciously choose to not only focus more on the positive, but to just pass over the bad, to not dwell on the negative. That has genuinely made my life just more enjoyable. Cool concept, right, guys? Not fucking always thinking about how awful you are as a person. You stop feeling bad about yourself. It's a crazy concept, I know. I'm sorry I'm touching my face a lot. My cat's on my lap and there's a bunch of hair here. It's a crazy concept, I know. But holy Christ, does it work? Today, nothing terribly bad happened to me. There was one embarrassing moment where there was some construction going on. Two lanes. One of the lanes gets cut off abruptly. There's not even a smooth transition for a merge. It's just abruptly stopped. Guy in front of me doesn't check in time. He slams the brakes. I slam my brakes. He merges. I don't get the opportunity to merge, so I'm just stuck right in front. I'm slammed my brakes right in front of this traffic cone. Guy behind me, like 4 or 5 cars behind me, also are just stuck behind me, and they're not honky, but they're like, "Hey man, let's get the fucking move on." And I just have to sit there, horribly embarrassed, while we're all waiting for us to merge. And obviously, I'm the last one to merge. I'm at the front of this line, so everyone's like going past me and looking at me. That was embarrassing. But then I just moved on. I moved on. I kept making my money, kept doing my job. I had more better shit to focus on. And it was fine. I didn't let myself dwell on that embarrassing moment. Obviously, this isn't that moment isn't as drastic as something that I probably would focus on, but it's still a negative thing that happened to me that I chose to deliberately not dwell on. It's such a unique concept to just, oh, like, everyone in my store was upset today. Everyone was mad today. We were very understaffed. A lot of orders came in. Boss was upset. And I have, like, there's a weird way, like, how when everyone's upset, it kind of affects you. It kind of, like, the general mood of a group of people can affect you, and can alter the way you feel, and you can convert to being mad. You know how it is. So I had to deliberately just choose to continue focusing on the positives of the day, so I wouldn't get my day ruined, I guess, by all the negative aura that was in my store. Now, today I kind of just want to focus on talking about not allowing the negative aspects of your life, the negative aspects of your environment, and the negative aspects of a specific situation to alter the way you feel about your day, your life in general, that kind of concepts. Today I made 350 fucking dollars at work. Pretty cool. That is what I want to focus on. That's the highlight of my day. I'm also talking to a pretty Asian lady. Let's see if she responded to my DM. Looks like she did. That's a pretty positive thing that's happening to me. See what I'm talking about, guys? This is what we need to be focusing on. We need to be focusing on getting our money up and having some hot Asian baddies in our DMs. I'm a winner. I'm a goddamn winner. If you've watched the other two videos from the last 2 days and you're wondering, wait, baddie in the DMs, isn't that exactly the opposite of what you were saying the other 2 days? My brain works in mysterious ways, and we shan't dwell on it and only look at the positives. Shoddy bad as hell. The moral of today, guys, allow yourself to feel and to appreciate and be grateful for even the smallest positive things that can happen to you. Obviously, for today, a very big positive thing happened to me in the sense of making money. Awesome! You know what I mean? Allowing yourself to be dragged down by your past mistakes, whether it be years ago, months ago, something that happened 5 minutes ago, letting yourself be weighed down by just horrible shit. It's not productive. It's not fun. Why do it? You know, it's very easy to do that. That's why you do it. It's very easy. What's not easy is to look at all that and say, I don't care. I'm going to focus on the good that happened to me today. I'm going to focus on the fact that I'm having a good day because of this, this, and this, X, Y, Z. Appreciate what you have, be grateful for what can be, and always strive to look for a better day. Thank you.